Coming to you from Blue Crew Studio in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show. Taking you inside the lives of the legends and leaders in moto and action sports. Today's guest is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha is the industry leader in two-wheeled fun and performance. Celebrating 50 years of YZ in 2024, the Blue Crew is still dominating shootouts and competitions. Yamaha, revs your heart. SKDA is the leader in motorcycle graphics. Driven by a combined passion for art and motorcycles, SKDA has become a global leader in the off-road motorcycle space. Their graphics can be spotted from a mile away with a unique design that blends speed and creativity. SKDA, search and supply of true art within moto. Troy Lee Designs, built for the world's fastest racers. TLD blends elite level protection with industry-leading style and performance. Moto, bike, helmet paint, casual wear, whatever your passion, Troy Lee Designs is waiting for you on the next level. Nihilo Concepts, enhance your riding experience with superior products like the start-stop conversion kit, fuel petcocks, frame grip tape, lever grip, grip donuts, secondary on switch, billet foot pegs, billet throttle housings, and so much more. Nihilo Concepts produces exceptional products, all of which are made right here in America. Hey folks, thanks for joining us here in Blue Crew Studios for another episode of the Whiskey Throttle Show. I'm your host, David Pingree, and I'm joined today by a SoCal motocross legend. You might have heard the name Radical Ron Turner. We've got him here today, and we're stoked to have him. The winningest rider in professional racing, I think, right?
Well, in Southern California anyway.
How many wins?
I have 974 professional wins.
That's a lot of gate drops, buddy. Well, I'm excited to have you on here and talk about your story. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we kick all these off with the Nihilo Concepts front-end chatter segment. If you guys need some parts for your bike, grip donuts, grip tape, all kinds of parts, billet machine parts, really nice stuff, foot pegs, check them out, Nihilo Concepts. So I got to start with the hair. What are you doing to keep such fantastic hair all these years, man?
I don't know.
What's the regimen? You put like mayonnaise in it or something?
Must be the Head and Shoulders, you know. Like what's that football guy? He's got that big hair and he promotes those Head and Shoulders commercials.
Well, it's working. Whatever you're doing is working. You got the best hair in motocross. You got to live through, I feel like maybe an incredible time in racing because you kind of really early on and through, I think, just so much progression and advancement of the sport and obviously still involved today. So, like, you've just gotten to see the evolution of it. How do you view it, racing now and what it's like now as a sport versus what it was like, way back when?
Well, in the early days, we didn't have the suspension. We didn't have the bikes. We didn't have the motors or any of that stuff. And, everything you were done in the garage or, new guys, FMF or DG or those guys came along and started building good motors and helping us, get a little closer. The works bikes, were a lot better than our production bikes. We tried. We done the best we can, and I started out racing in 1969. I had an old CZ that I got from the neighbor and went out racing, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I, there was no way I was not going to do this. My mom said I wasn't going to do it, but, I went with my cousins or whatever. And
did you get pretty good at like fabbing? I love hearing the stories of those early days because it was like there wasn't you kind of did stuff yourself. Like the story of the Jones brothers sawing a frame in half right in front of a Honda Tech and then like shortening it and,
Right.
You guys were kind of
innovators.
Just try it and see, see what happens.
And Gary's dad, and Dwayne and Gary and Don Jones, they were not afraid. They tore anything apart, and they did, it was good. They were not afraid to try stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that, I didn't in my area and stuff, or it was in the area, but I didn't know the people to do it. And I was really, quiet, shy, kind of just wanted to go race motorcycles.
Yeah. So you just rode it however it was and
tried,
hope for the best.
And I learned how to do, suspension, and we came first, with the lay down shocks and everything, so that helped, the handling and everything, raising and lowering your fork tubes, different things like that, that helped turn better. And those bikes, the frames broke or stuff like that, and if you didn't have duct tape and baling wire, you maybe not finish.
Didn't get through the weekend, huh? Yeah, I imagine as many races as you did, you had to MacGyver some stuff together over the years, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot, and even later on, you still had your little zip ties and your things that you needed to put on.
Yeah,
but it was great times. We got to see, the tracks, how many tracks there was available and everything. And I grew up in El Cajon, and we had all the Martys down there, Marty Smith, Marty Tribes, Tommy Croft, all these guys that were fast guys. Brock Glover, Ricky Johnson, all of us. Lachine, all of us all the people come from down there in those days. So we had some good local races.
How many tracks was there or were there, in driving distance from you?
Well, because first off is District 38, so there's a lot of tracks down there. We had probably 7 tracks within
just in your area,
within 45 minutes from home. And I lived in Lakeside, and then you had Four Corners, which is up by Brone Oaks, is kind of a couple miles from where Four Corners used to be. At San Diego Country Estates is where Four Corners used to be.
Okay.
And we had some good races there. It's first time I met Jeff Ward and Brad Dutoit, and those guys came down. They had a Budweiser $10,000 purse or something like that.
Oh, man.
And so first good money race, and I won, so it was really good for me.
$10,000 was pretty stinking good back then.
That's a good purse for for the all 3 classes. You had all 3, 500, 250, and 125.
And you rode them all three?
Not at that time.
Okay.
Not at that time, just the 125 class at that time.
That was the cool thing. Even in my amateur years, started about 1990 going to amateur nationals, and I remember the local pro guys were riding 125, 250, and 500 pro. The Rex Statons,
Yep.
They were like these journeyman guys that would just travel around finding money races and racing every class.
Every time you got a chance, Night races was big in the 80s. We could race every day except for Monday.
Yeah.
At the different tracks or different club or whatever it was. I mean, it was good money. You can make.
And even through the 90s, you guys didn't have contingency back then. But when did that kick off? Maybe sometime around 80.
Yeah, you had a few things that. Honda had some contingency stuff, Yamaha and stuff, and I was a test rider, so I got, I really was lucky actually on that part for getting my bikes and parts and everything, because I tested in the daytime and then I went to the tracks and raced at night.
Well, somewhere between like late 80s and late 90s, all the manufacturers it was like a bidding war of contingency money, of who could give out the most, and guys were buying bikes just based on, okay, well, who's paying the most contingency?
Right.
Because you could just do local series and make a decent living.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah, they'd pass, Kawasaki came with their big contingency, and they supplied through CMC, all the local clubs, GFI, and they, so it was good. You could make a living just racing.
And that was kind of your thing, right? Like you raced a lot.
I raced a lot.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, we'll get to it all, man. I'm excited to hear all the whole story. Get over to whiskeythrottlemedia.com if you guys haven't yet. All kinds of neat content over there. Motocross, off-road, dual sport, new merch over there, all kinds of stuff. Check it out. Our guest is brought to you today by Yamaha. Let's dive into it. Tell me, so Lakeside, is that where you kind of grew up, born and raised?
No, I was born in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
And so, my parents separated, and my mom moved to California with my stepfather.
Okay.
And so we came out here. I was 8 years old.
When you were 8, okay.
Yeah. And
what do you remember much of Arkansas? Like when you were little?
We had a great farm, and early, grew up. My grandmother raised me a lot because my parents were battling back and forth and everything. So grandmother on one side and grandfather on the other, on my dad's side.
Okay.
So they kind of switched off taking care of my brother and I, and we, knew nothing about bikes back then. It was, you had to go to the barn and milk the cows and go in the
So it was a full farm?
Full farm, yeah.
Okay.
And they lived off the farm, and
wow.
And they worked at the canning factory and stuff, and my grandfather raised tomatoes and tobacco and all kind of stuff. And his early days, he made a little whiskey too. So
Yeah, a little moonshine.
yeah,
Attaboy.
good old moonshine, you know. So, and I mean, I got to see his still and that kind of stuff. So he
It wasn't legal back
no,
then, was yeah.
no. My great grandfather was actually shot by the feds
No way.
at his still.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's in Missouri. We're on the Arkansas-Missouri border, right by Branson,
Okay.
Reed Springs, and where the Branson race took
Yeah.
place and everything. So they were right on the border. They grew up there, and farms. My grandfather had 2,200-acre farm, and his grandfather had the ferries before they put the bridges in, and
Okay.
did all that stuff. And
Wow.
then but he was making whiskey, and there's stories about him and Ma Barker and Bonnie and Clyde and
Is
stuff
that right?
getting whiskey from my grandfather. So it's a pretty
Wow.
neat thing, history stuff.
You're like the Duke boys back there. Dukes of Hazzard. I love it. How old was your brother?
My brother is 18 months younger than I am.
Okay. You guys close still?
I lost him 14 years ago.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. So we were really close. We talked every week, and he was actually faster than I was.
Is that right?
But
Did he stay in Arkansas or where was he?
He came out here for a little while, and then he went back home, took care of the farm, helped mom and dad and stuff, and then got married. And he still raced. He raced a few nationals in like St. Joseph, Missouri, and things like that close to there. And him and Magoo hung out a little bit together and stuff. And he
Okay.
rode just like Danny Chandler
Just wide open
until
feet.
they hit the dirt. That's all. That's what they knew.
That's awesome.
He said the throttle's made to turn as far as you can.
That's hilarious.
So
That was definitely his way.
yeah.
So it had to be, I mean, maybe it just sounds fun, but like, was it fun growing up on a farm? It seems like it'd be.
You know, if I could do it right now, I'd be there right now.
Yeah.
Because just, have 100 acres in the middle of nowhere, and
yeah.
your tractor, build a track, and my thing would be I'd love to build a track and have a couple races a year. Like a vintage race and like a Branson race, something like that. Put together a couple races a year, and then go fishing and live off the farm, and but it's hard. All the kids are here, and the wife's from California, so she's not into the farm.
Yeah, she's not going to accept farm life at this point, huh?
No.
So did you know anything about motorcycles when you lived back there, or no? None of that.
No.
That came later. Okay.
Yep.
So you moved out here at 8. How did you? When you were a kid, would you play other sports or anything?
I played baseball and stuff too. My brother and I both played baseball, and pretty okay. We did okay with that and stuff, and that would probably be another choice that I would have went into, But what I didn't like about baseball, you had your teammates that you had to deal with, and if they're mad at their girlfriend or their buddy or something, then you're going to lose.
Yeah.
If I race motorcycles, I lose. It's my fault.
Yeah. This is a really common theme. It's kind of why I asked that question, because motocross guys hate that. They hate team sports for that one reason. It's like, look, I'm not going to put all this work and effort into something to have someone else lose it for me. That sucks.
Right.
I'd rather take all the responsibility, and I either win on my, by my work, or I lose by my work.
Right. And you beat yourself up on the way home when you don't, and you don't got no money for groceries or whatever.
That's it.
So
how'd you get introduced to bikes when you moved out here?
We grew up down there in El Cajon, which is bikes everywhere, and we could ride everywhere. Everybody had a bike. My cousins had bikes, and my mom said no to me. You're not getting a motorcycle. It's dangerous and all this stuff. So my cousins actually took me with them, and I rode their bikes, and they let me ride. And this was all, when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, about 11, 12. And so I'd go, my cousins I'd ride their bikes, and I'd jump them. I'd do, farther, they go, you got to ride a bike. And
You were pretty good right away, just got on. And
I just loved it.
Yeah.
And I've been riding bicycles and doing jumping everything you can and doing stupid stuff and whatever. And then the motorcycles, it's easy. You don't have to pedal it.
Just turn the throttle and it flies.
Yeah. So they would let me ride theirs, and they'd bet with their buddies. I'd out jump them and do all kind of stuff. So pretty soon, my stepfather actually one day we're coming home, and we stopped at Don Vesco Yamaha, and he actually bought my brother and I a bike. And my mom, I know my dad slept on the couch for weeks after that, because
That's cool. That's cool that he took the hit for you.
Yeah, and we were helping him too. He had a drywall business, and we'd help him clean drywall
Yep.
and scrap and do all that kind of stuff and everything. And he knew we wanted bikes, and our cousins had ones, and we like going to the desert, and stuff too, because they all went out there and they had dune buggies and stuff. And so he finally got us our bikes.
What'd you get?
AT1.
AT1, okay.
Yeah.
That was the kind of one of the good bikes back then, right?
It was it was kind of,
That was it.
They had the Cowie, green streaks and that kind of stuff and everything before the Elsinores came and everything.
Did they have Hadakas back then? Was it the Super Rat or
Combat Wombat?
Wombat.
Super Rat, yeah. Yeah, they had those. They had the Baja 100s too, the Harley Davidsons and stuff. And I actually got one of those from a neighbor, and he gave it to me and said if I could get it running, I could have it. So we got it going somehow. I don't know. We rode it around for a while.
So what did your cousins have?
They had CZs, Bultacos,
Okay.
and they got a Suzuki TM 400 when they first come.
Oh, wow.
Also,
Okay. They were older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get this Yamaha. Did you start racing right away, or were you guys just kind of riding for fun? And
just kind of desert riding, playing out in Superstition, just riding hills, jumps, doing that kind of stuff.
okay.
And then finally talked in my mom. My mom actually told me, my uncle, she said if I can get my uncle to sponsor me to pay the entry fee or something, then I could go racing, because we were afraid to talk to my uncle because he was way up here, had a lot of dough and everything. He had part of Century 21 Real Estate and Recreation World, which is like Camping World is today. He owned a business and we were all afraid to talk to him. So my mom said, if you talk him into sponsoring you, you can go racing. So I'll never forget it. We went to talk to my uncle, and just nervous and shaking and everything, and not talking to people, and scared of my uncle anyway. And he said yes, and so he sent me out, and to this day I thank him, because I went to Four Corners, raced my first race at Four Corners, and I did pretty well. I won, actually. It was the beginner class, and I rode couple weeks in the beginner class. I won both times, and then they moved me up, and then we were on it. We were racing every week. And
so at that point then, was your stepdad taking you and your mom?
Yeah, my stepdad and my mom actually went too, and she said she should have let us do it before, because my grades were better in school. Did all my work. She didn't have no problems with me, she said.
Well, I wonder, what her perception of it was before she actually went to a race. Like, did she think it was maybe, a bunch of hooligans? You know what I mean? I think a lot of parents just hear dirt bikes and they're like, oh, no, we're not doing that.
And the Harley guys had all this reputation and everything back in the, late 60s and early 70s, terrorizing the neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. Completely different. People had that, and I think my mom had that same impression too. And because a lot of people, aunts, uncles, and all that had the same thing. You're letting them ride those motorcycles, and but we weren't out tearing up stuff and everything. And
for the most part, it's that's one thing that's great about it. But it is a misconception. It's a family sport. It's like you said, it actually keeps kids going in the right direction, because they're not out trying to kill time.
Right, doing something else and getting in trouble. And and later on, after, through the years and everything, I did schools and stuff too. And the parents, I meant you do good, paying for schools. And I go, yeah, you're paying us to do this. How much would it cost you to do a lawyer if you're out, causing trouble, and stuff like that. So it keeps them focused.
Yeah. I'm saving you money.
Yeah, saving you a lot of money. Don't complain about the day.
What? I got to believe in those early days. So what year would that have been when you started racing?
I started in 1969.
69, okay.
Yeah, and then.
And what races was there? Like just some local stuff? Was there any big events, motocross stuff going on?
There was, I didn't know. There was a lot more going on up here in the L.A. area and stuff, Orange County, Saddleback, and Carlsbad even, because I didn't come to Carlsbad, I think, until 71, 72. some District 38 races, but I was District 38 #1 for 2 years. And I remember coming to Saddleback the first time, because I called up Donnie Imler at FMF, and I go, hey, I'm District 38 #1. I've been #1 for the last 2 years, looking for help, sponsors and everything. He goes, I never heard of you, so he goes, what? I go, what do you got to do? I go, and he goes, Saddleback, CMC, and the tracks up here was CMC. Down there it was all just AMA sanctioned races.
Did CMMC exist back then?
Yeah.
Okay,
No. California Mini Association came a little bit later.
Okay.
And I don't know what year. I can't remember what year.
I just remember Barone Oaks being
that
CMMC.
But Barone Oaks wasn't there at that time,
Okay.
at that early time yet. Barone Oaks came a few years later.
Okay.
I can't remember what year that was because it was all Mini Bikes Association, the CMC, which was Morwood, Lance Morwood.
Is that who it was? Lance Morwood and
his dad and
Hendrickson?
Hendricks, yeah, and Ron Hendricks.
And then he spun off to NMA, right?
Yes.
Ron
Hendrickson.
Ron?
Yeah, Ron.
Okay.
Yeah. He did the Branson race and Ponca City and those races too.
So there wasn't like a really, like the World Mini didn't start till much later. Like, was there any big amateur events out here, or was it just the CMC stuff was the spot to go? Because those were big events, their local races.
Their local races, we go on the line and there'd be 40 guys in each class, and and the Golden States and that kind of stuff. You had qualifiers to get to the final, and then it's a 40-round final.
I remember, multiple gates of heats.
Right.
Just to make the motos in like the 125 novice class, it was packed.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 motos gates of those guys.
It's crazy.
It was big, and the racing was big in that 80s and late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, that's why I say you kind of lived through before that and then raced through it and into you saw a lot. It was really, you lived in a cool area, raced through a cool era.
Right.
And you were one of the original El Cajon Zone guys, which I don't think it was even called that yet, right?
No, that came later on and stuff. We were the original, with the Martys, like I say, Tribe, Smith, Moats. All those, all of us guys grew up riding. And
so those were the guys you grew up riding with?
Yeah, well, I met them, when I first started, at like Santee Sand Pits is a place we used to go practice all the time.
Okay.
It's in Lakeside. And then, they'd come out to the district AMA races too, in the early days and everything before they went off and they got ahead of me in the national career, going to the nationals. I didn't know didn't know enough about it, to go. But, we'd hit some purse races like the one, the $10,000 purse at Four Corners, that special event Budweiser put on, a few other races like that. Most of the district races were not big. They were a lot of people. Brock came, Ricky Johnson came, all those guys came through there too. Mm-hmm. But then, where you needed to go was CMC because, that's where they, they wanted to do it. And I was lucky in the early days too, in the late 70s, not late 70s, 75, 76, I got a job with Suzuki doing testing.
Okay.
So through the Carlsbad race team. And I was one of the original Carlsbad race team members.
Yeah, and what was that about? I do remember a little bit of that, but
Nancy Moore had the team. She knew Larry Grismar really well and stuff, and I got to know him pretty well too, him and his son. And so she put together a Carlsbad race team, and I was one of the original people, local guys that were trying to go up. And through that, I met Tosh Koyama at Suzuki, and he ran the testing program and did a few one-day tests, and then they hired me full-time.
Okay.
So I had a full-time career doing.
Were you doing like endurance testing or R&D? What was your, or both?
I did both.
Yeah, okay.
I did both. I started from the beginning. We had the bikes, 2 or 3 months before we brought in the test guys to put the hours and stuff on them and everything. Mm-hmm. We'd set them up, we changed stuff, and I got good at, changing cylinders, what it did, where, pipes, different, power bands, different things that it produced that. it helped, and suspension and all that stuff. And
When I rode for Mitch, 95, 96, 97, I think he thought I was out of shape and he wanted to kind of put some laps on me. So he had me go do endurance testing for Kawasaki at Carlsbad.
right,
And it was like, you just did a 40-minute moto. You'd come in, they'd gas the bike up, someone else went out.
yep,
And then when I think there was 2 or 3 of us, and it's like every time your turn came up, you were doing 3 or 4 40s a day.
right.
And that poor bike would just get
Beat up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's the same kind of thing. We did 100 laps every day at Carlsbad.
Is that what it was?
That was our thing. It's 100 laps, and you'd go change something when we're doing just, even tire testing or any of that kind of stuff. You'd go and put 15 laps on the thing. Come in, they'd check the tire wear, do all that kind of stuff. You'd gas up. You did it. You did 100 laps each guy, and there was 4 of us that did the testing, and then they'd bring in the endurance testing, and then that's just like you say. You fill up the bike, the next guy goes. You do your 4-man circle, and you just keep on going all day and try to break that thing. So.
Yeah, and you'd get on it, the grips are all worn out, tires are bald. it wasn't a lot of fun, really.
Yeah, especially at Carlsbad. Right?
Yeah, Carlsbad.
But you got to know every bump, so it was okay.
Yeah. Was Palm Avenue a spot back then?
Palm Avenue was early, like with Ricky and Marty Smith and everything. They went there a lot more than I did.
Okay.
I had in Lakeside. I had my own little area behind our house that I built the track, with the shovels and practice every day after school.
Okay.
I'd do there, and then when I started driving, then I could go to Palm Avenue and stuff. But as soon as I started, I left the house, and so I got my job at Suzuki, 16, 17 years old, and I was away from that area.
Did you quit school then and just go work?
No, I 2 weeks before school was over, I left.
Oh, really?
2 weeks to go. I wasn't going to graduation. I didn't go to none of that stuff or anything, but 2 weeks before,
So how were you working? How were you doing the Suzuki stuff? Like after school?
No, well, in the summertime, then
Oh,
it was
okay.
okay. Then we didn't test,
Through the winter.
winter as much. And then after I left school, then I got a full-time job.
Full-time, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's a pretty good gig, actually. It gets you connected. You learn a lot because
Yes.
they teach you how to test and
Right.
what to feel for and what's good, what's bad.
Right. What the different things they do, which way it goes, up or down or
Yeah.
whatever. And being truthful with them is what they really, because I wasn't afraid to tell them if it was junk, or whatever, if it didn't work. And, especially coming out of those turns, pulling up those hills and everything, if the power band was, I wasn't a pipey rider. I liked low end, mid range. And I always wanted to build something that you could go to the bike shop and buy and go ride. So, not everybody could go with Ford suspension and all this other stuff aftermarket.
Yeah.
So I was really stickler on trying to make it the best that we could produce.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes, these are the folks writing your check. You look up to them, you want to please them, right? Like you want to make them happy. So to look at them and go, yeah, this part is no good. It's kind of tough, I remember being in that position. Like, I don't know if you remember Mike Hooker. He was the development guy at Pro Circuit for a long time. And he worked all day on this cone pipe, hand built the thing. And he comes out and he's all proud of it. Oh man, this is going to be, let's try this, and it was bad.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. And I'm like, oh, sorry, dude. It's not good. And he's just like, oh, but
Hey, they have to accept that, right?
they need that honesty, right? I mean,
and that's what you did, and that's the way I was too. I mean, one time Suzuki came with their 465s when they first introduced their 465. They came, and I was a little bike rider until and then I started getting on the big bike. I took that thing one lap at Carlsbad, came back and threw it on the ground, and I go, this is the biggest pig that you could. It pushes, it don't turn, it's too heavy. The guys, nobody else got to ride it. They locked it up.
Oh, really?
They took it back, and it came back in a week with, about 11 pounds lighter, and they did a bunch of stuff. And the 465, came out pretty.
Yeah.
It came out better. So, and I tell them that, and that's what they liked is, I mean, I tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You know, if it worked good, yeah, I tell them it worked good. If it didn't, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that's the tough part of that job. You got to be truthful.
Right.
And sometimes the more blunt you are, the more they appreciate it too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
What riders did you look up to when you were kind of coming up?
You know, I have to look up to Gary Jones. You know, he was the first 250 national champion, and when I got to know him, you know, I didn't know him at first, but you know, his history and you know, and got to know him later years and stuff, and Marty Tripes was really, you know, I meant stand up on the foot pegs, ride, you know, just I like that, you know.
Yeah.
And so he was probably the one I copied the most after as Marty Tripes. And then, you know, Marty Smith was smooth, and so you had to, you know, look up to him and stuff and everything. And we also had you know, some battles and stuff. And
Yeah, and you'd see those guys all the time, huh? I mean,
you know, all the stuff. And they were on the national, like I say, a couple of years before I got to go out on the national circuit and already established themselves.
Yeah.
But those are the guys I wanted.
yeah, it just, I mean, if you lived in Nebraska, and you'd only see them in a magazine once in a while, right? Like
Right.
you go out to a local track and there they are. That's
Right.
pretty cool.
Yes. And on their days off too, at the local you know, practice track, you'd see them and everything, like you say, Palm Avenue,
Yeah.
and once in a while Sand Pits. Marty Smith would come out there sometime, but Trife was there a lot, you know, and was.
Huh. What point did you start getting more serious with the racing? Like where did it kind of ramp up for you?
Well, what was really good at Suzuki, you know, Tosh Koyama, which ran the Suzuki development department and everything, and he liked it that I went racing every week or every day too. After, I mean, I'd go practice, test all day, and go have my bikes loaded in the truck and go straight to a night race.
Is that right?
Yeah, so we could, you know, I mean, it's Tuesday night OCR, Wednesday night Ascot, Thursday night back at OCR with a different club. And then Friday, wherever, you know, there was 3 or 4 different races on Friday night. And then Saturday, you know, and this was all local stuff, you know, I did a lot of that. And then when I got the chance to go.
Is that crazy that there would be 3 or 4 events going on a Friday night in Southern California and they'd still have a good turnout at each one?
Right. There were so many riders.
So many people.
Right. So, I mean, Irwindale was a big thing, and you know, if you won there a lot, they put bounties on you and that kind of stuff. You know, like Gary Denton had bounties on him, Rex Staten had bounties on him.
Well, you mean if someone beat him, they got more money?
You got an extra $100 or whatever. They had $50, $100 or whatever bounty on top of winning. Then you got that, you know, bonus, which made it good for your pocketbook.
Yeah.
You know, if you did, and that's
now if you didn't beat him, did he get the money?
I don't know if they gave him the money because I only know if I won it, you know. So I don't know for sure, you know. If they, I don't know if they gave it to him or not for sure. You have to ask Rex that.
Yeah, I'm sure Rex.
He'll tell you.
Had a bounty.
Yeah, no, he had a OC or Corona dialed in.
That was his spot.
Yeah, and he did good at Irwindale too back in, you know. So
yeah, well, he was the same way. He'd race everywhere, every chance he got. He raced so much, you know, because he was racing all the classes and winning.
Yeah,
you know.
And then when I started, racing all 3 classes, then you make a good night. You can make a good salary.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So,
It's not the easy way, but you can.
Yeah.
Did your uncle continue to sponsor you throughout all this, or
just at first?
Just at first? Okay, to get you started.
Yeah, then like the first Super Bowl of motocross, I went there for Don Vesco sent me there with a Noguchi Yamaha.
Okay.
And it was high school the first year, and so he helped me out. He got me a Husky ride and stuff and everything. And this is all premature so when I started at Suzuki, it all changed for me.
Okay.
You know, I got to ride all the classes. I got all the bikes and everything. But the first years, you know, with the Don Vesco got me a Husky for a while. I rode Can-Ams for a while. I rode KTMs for a bit. Whatever I could get to ride, I rode.
Okay.
And stuff. And I, you know, we jumped ahead because I told you about the Suzuki. That was later after, you know, this all pre-Suzuki days.
Sure, yeah. So when did it get serious then? After high school, when you were done with high school?
Yeah, because I left high school, and I had to go to work. So I lived in the back of my van or whatever, and just until Suzuki hired me the first time, and then I got an apartment in Buena Park. Right
You lived in your van?
for a little while. Yeah, it wasn't too long, probably 3 months or so.
Okay.
Just because I came up here
Yeah.
from down there, and I got involved, with the Suzuki testing and riding up here and everything. So
You just stay. Where would you stay?
yeah, I stayed sometimes at the tracks,
Yeah.
wherever, little
Huh.
parking lots, wherever, but it wasn't very long. So I got hired at Suzuki, and then I was able to get apartment building and everything. So
That's awesome. I love the commitment. You're in. You're just staying in your van and going for it.
yeah, it was good.
So
times.
who were the people you were learning from, on the riding side? Was there guys that would help you, or were you just kind of watching the Martys and picking up what you saw, or was there anybody that kind of helped you?
I had really nobody that helped me at all. It's just, Marty, I watched his, stand up, get off the seat, stand, and he's probably the one that I watched the most that fit me more. And then I rode farther back on the bike than a lot of people too, so, and it looked like I was sitting down, but I was never sitting down. I was just hitting the back seat,
Yeah.
but I, because keeping the front end, light and trying to, but I had no really body that, gave me any pointers or anything like that. It just.
Was there anyone doing schools or anything like that? I know.
I think there was a Russ Darnell school.
Okay.
Here, and then, but I didn't know him, so I don't know, about schools. And I rode so much that I, beat myself in, and I'd push myself, hey, I can go another 5 feet into this turn, and brake less and on the gas,
Yeah.
So I pushed myself and what was neat about after the Suzuki days, they timed you every lap, and because they wanted to know, for testing and everything, if you're going the same speed, and everything for tire wear, motor wear, or any of that kind of stuff. So I was always wanting to beat that time.
Would they give you a pit board with your times, or you just see it after?
When you came in, so I went this fast, and then between us and the little house, I call it, the four of, we always try to beat each other.
Sure.
So you got it. And at the end of the day, I go, I want to have the fastest lap time of the day.
Yeah.
So that's what I push.
Yeah, I mean, and, now you go to a track, there's coaches everywhere, especially here in Southern California. But back then, there just wasn't much of that.
No.
Darnell, I actually went to a Russ Darnell school in '86.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know who was before him. I know Suzuki had a school they did at Carlsbad, right?
Yeah, they had the Suzuki school. If you bought a bike, they'd send you to the school and stuff, which Mark Blackwell was.
Mark Blackwell, that's for it.
Yeah, Mark Blackwell was teaching, and then he had. Who else did he have there that was helping him with the schools? But there were 2 or 3 other good riders that was helping him with the schools.
Yeah, nowadays they just watch videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have that.
We didn't have that. We didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have nothing that. No.
So take me through your progression when you moved up to the pro class. And I imagine it seems like back then guys were kind of rushing to get to the pro class because you wanted to make some money.
And I jumped in right after 4 expert, 4 intermediate races and everything.
So let's go.
I'm going to expert, and this was all at Brona Oaks in the early days, before I even AMA, before just not Brona Oaks, but Four Corners.
Okay.
And before that, I was just going into, just wanting to do better, and I won. So the guy moved me up at the track. He goes, "You
to
can't."
pro?
To expert.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Expert, yeah. And then rode expert right away, and then we had guys like Mike Stearns and. Billy Urban was in that area down in El Cajon and stuff too, and you had guys. I mean, you had Kenny Frost. You had these different guys that were, fast that you battled with.
Yeah.
And
It's and I'm sure this is the same way all over the country, all over the world. There's a lot of fast local guys. Anywhere you go, I learned that even when I was done racing professionally. I was just working as an editor. I'd go to different countries and race, or go to different places, and there was always a fast local kid. I don't care where you go.
Right. Had that track dialed.
Had the track dialed, and you just think, man, you're a really good rider. Like, why didn't you go? But it's a big difference between being fast at your local track and then being able to go put that into place.
All the different tracks. And
yeah.
stuff, yeah, because each one's different, and going out on the nationals and even different tracks. I remember going to Texas, the West Texas 10,000. It was a big purse at Midland, Odessa. Brock went with me. I took Brock. We went out there, and I think Brock ended up getting third, and I won. And it was a money race too, and split I think I got $2,500 for first place, which was good.
It's great money back then. Heck yeah.
This was on the early Hondas in '73.
Okay.
So we were, and stuff like that. Going to those different purses was neat because, and one-off race that, nobody heard, and they pay money,
Yeah.
So
those were fun.
Those a lot of fun.
So were you winning when you moved up to expert? Were you winning right away?
I was.
Yeah.
I did do good right away. Top 3 all the time, and then won a lot of times. So it was good. I mean,
it sounds like from a pretty young age you had met Brock Glover, and I know you did some riding with Ricky Johnson. He was younger than you a little bit, but you had these really good riders around you, as your riding buddies.
Right.
Was that what was that like? I mean, I don't know. I guess at the time, did you even realize who you were?
Not really, because none of us were anybody.
Yeah, right.
We were growing up together.
Yeah.
And then spending the time with Brock off the tracks during the weeks. He hung around with my brother a lot and everything, and he's at our house a lot, and his dad, his older brother and stuff. And Hippie Hollow, like Ricky Johnson says, this guy, he sponsored Brock and myself and everything out there, and bought us a couple of bikes, and helped us through our careers.
And Rick, we had Ricky Johnson here earlier, for those who weren't paying attention, for another thing, and he was sharing some stories of riding with you, which we'll get to. But he said that guy used to counterfeit money or something. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but
he's gone.
Okay.
God
rest his soul.
Yes. He laundered money.
Okay.
He made money, and he sold dope.
Oh man! All right.
So
triple threat guy.
Yeah. So he was scared me to death. One time, I thought he was going to get shot and different things like that because bad deals and stuff. You just got to haul ass and get out of there, right?
At a place called Hippie Hollow.
Hippie Hollow. That's what. And the guy lived like he had nothing. And I mean, when I first met him, Brock actually introduced me to him because he goes, "Hey, my buddy Ron needs a new bike too and stuff." And so he took me and introduced him to me. And the guy's name was Jack, and he liked helping kids. But he told us, if you ever catch you guys doing any dope or doing any of that stuff, I'm done with you. He did it all. He don't want you doing it.
Listen, I'm growing it and selling it. You stay out of it.
Right. And that's the way he meant it too.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
so he bought us, Brock and I both, took us down and bought us a couple new Hondas at House of Honda in El Cajon. And
that's crazy.
Forget about all that stuff. We jumped ahead on the Suzuki stuff.
Yeah.
That, so. But,
that's funny.
Yeah. Good story.
So tell me about, what about Scott Burnworth? I mean, we got to make a mention of Burner here, who just recently passed.
Yeah, he's younger, so he came in the 80s and stuff. So really nice guy, though. I mean, I love Scotty to death, his family, and it's saddened. It's just so hard. You just, there's one guy only knows when it's our time, and it's our time.
Amen. And I mean, same with Mike Bell. It's like these two guys were so fit and healthy. You just think, I think it just caught everybody off guard because you just, no way you'd have expected that.
Never knew. Yeah. I never thought he's so good a shape and everything. He rode all the time still, and it's really, I'm sad, because it's I mean, got to know him good at Suzuki years and stuff, and some, he's younger, so he came after I was gone and everything to Honda and different things, but still just getting to know him and all the stuff he does for the sport and stuff, and his reunions and stuff that we'll miss, because I don't see anybody. I hope somebody steps up and can do it too and everything.
I think they will. Just to honor his legacy.
Right.
I've already been in talks with a couple guys about trying to keep his series going, however we can help and get involved. So, I mean,
That's
people
awesome.
aren't going to let that stuff die.
No. And it's big, it's the vintage guys. They don't have to go to the races. They want to go to the races.
Yeah.
So it's fun, and you get all these people. We get to see each other, once a year at the reunions and stuff like that. That makes it awesome.
I just love that he was keeping the
Spirit.
tradition and legacy going of all of it,
Right.
Okay, so take me into kind of your pro career as it's getting started. 69, you said.
Beginner started, yeah.
Was your beginner. 75, you're doing Suzuki testing. When did you turn pro?
I was probably 74.
74, okay.
Yeah,
Just before the Suzuki stuff, okay.
Yeah, right in there, because I was already racing pro races. Actually, late part of 73, I'd done some of those pro races.
Okay.
The special events and everything.
Okay, I was just trying to get my timeline right.
Yeah, and so in the 70s, when the TMs came in, is when I first started at Suzuki, so I was in a pro class, racing in 74.
Okay.
So 73, 74.
And so Suzuki, you're doing their testing for them, you're racing, I assume on Suzukis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were they not giving you like any special parts, nothing like that?
Just plain tests.
Just stock test
bikes,
parts.
yeah. And then what was really cool is I got Donnie involved with Suzuki's at FMF, and so he built my bikes.
Okay.
So I got him switched into the Suzuki's and everything. So he FMF started doing the FMF package racers and all that stuff. So he started doing my bikes.
How long ago when did Donnie start?
He was in the 70s too. I think FMF
probably not too much earlier than that. Huh?
73, I think.
Okay.
And I think Donnie was doing stuff before the Hondas came, with the 100s. He was racing and he's building pipes and doing stuff. Probably in the early, late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
And he helped me a lot. FMF did really.
Yeah, Donnie's a good dude.
Yeah, he is. I love Donnie.
Passionate guy. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and Mitch too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a reason they've been around so long. You don't last in this little industry if you're not a good guy.
No.
Right? Hardworking and all that.
Yeah.
So you're most, I would say, best known for being this dominant guy here locally. You won so many stinking races. Take me through and you mentioned it a little bit, but like take me through a typical week in this time frame. Like you were racing 6
days a week.
6 days a week.
Yeah. So my day would be I get up in the morning, go test, get my testing done, do that, have my bikes in the truck, depending on what track I went to. I had 3 bikes for each size, for set up for different tracks, different
Is that right?
terrains. Yeah, so I had 12 bikes. All Suzuki was good to me. Tosh was really good to me, and so I'd have my 500, my 2, all set up for the different tracks where I'm going to go, whether it's a day race or night race or whatever. And
so you had like a Carlsbad setup and then
a saddleback. And Carlsbad and Saddleback were pretty similar. I could use the same bike at both places. But the night races, I had, my bike's a little bit lower, lower fork tubes, a little bit lower so you could turn them a little bit. And
tighter tracks, a little slower.
Yeah, and hard packed and everything. And so, you had them set up for each place. And Orange County was a little more loamy, had a little more loose to it, so you could have a little more suspension, a little looser. Everything. So,
okay.
So I went through all that, time,
So you'd race Monday night, like where were the races? Or Monday night was off?
Monday night was off.
Okay.
But I still tested Monday, So we'd go testing, and then Tuesday we'd go testing wherever we were. Sometimes Carlsbad, sometimes out in Simi Valley, sometimes in Mid Valley out there. They had a practice track out there too.
Okay.
And we'd go to the roughest place, Elsinore. We had a test place there too. And they, depending on what we're testing, whether it's suspension, whether it was tires, wherever, and we'd go to all these places doing all the suspension, motors, pipes, everything, pre-production. So we did all that. I'd go testing and then head to, say, Ascot. Get off at 3 in the afternoon, head to Ascot, get done, go home, sleep 3 or 4 hours, take a shower, sleep 3 or 4 hours, and then wherever I got to go testing the next day.
God, you were burning the candle, man, at both ends.
It was full. I mean, we were on it all the time. And
yeah.
I wanted to race because I made more money racing than I did, testing.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So riding all 3 classes and taking, it was good.
Did you ever get burned out during this? I mean, geez.
I loved it so much that I mean, it was your whole life. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing.
There's no time for anything else.
There was nothing
You get Mondays, you probably just slept all day.
Yeah, and, tried to, I mean, if you had to go testing, sometimes you'd get Monday off, sometimes you'd have a week off without testing or 2 weeks, because it didn't test all the time.
Right.
But during the testing times, I still wanted to race, and even when the testing was over, I still raced every night, And
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't have to share this if you don't want, but back then, like, if you had a good week, you're testing and you're going racing, and let's say you're winning them, what could you make in a week back then?
You can make, if you ride all 3 classes a night, there's 25 riders, 30 riders at 100% payback, and you top 3 in all 3 classes, you can make $700-800 a night. So,
Plus, what were they paying you for a day of testing? A couple $100?
My salary for back then was $50,000 a year. So
okay,
I mean,
hey, you're doing good.
No, it was good. I did good.
Yeah.
Really did. I really did good.
That's cool, man. I love it. I love hearing those stories. So I know CMC at the time was basically like a national. You would go to a Golden State or a Trans-Cal, and it might as well have been a national, but.
Right. And especially the early ones, the 76 first CMC Golden State Nationals, packed. All the pro guys show up,
It was that way all the way through the 80s. I mean, really, even early 90s. By sometime in the 90s, it started tapering.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah. When did you do your first national? Was it 76?
I did my first national, yes, was 76. And
okay.
Hangtown.
Or 75, actually.
75.
Yeah, I've got it here. 75 Hangtown.
Okay, there you go. That's my first one.
And so were you still on a Suzuki at this point?
FMF, was I on the FMF Suzuki here? Maybe Honda.
Okay.
Maybe Honda there.
Okay. I know it's been a minute. I'm just
75, maybe. 76. It was Suzuki for sure. 75. I can't remember my first year.
Well, you were testing for Suzuki still in 75, so maybe you were still on a Suzuki at that point.
Yeah.
What do you remember from that first national? How was that different from like a CMC weekend?
Different people, there was, you got guys coming from that you didn't know from different states, that traveled to nationals already and everything. So different people, a lot of people I knew though, a lot of them, Danny Chandler, Gary Denton, Brock Glover, all those guys that you knew. So it's just a different race, I guess.
It didn't kind of freak you out or whatever. It was just like
didn't know what I was doing, kind of. Didn't know how
the flow of the day and how things.
Everything. Yeah. So
longer motos too, I'd imagine, huh?
We did 45-minute motos in those early days and stuff, and we were doing 45-minute motos.
Oh, down here, just local stuff. Oh, really?
So, first the early days and for sure the AMA it was 45-minute motos.
Isn't that crazy? Guys would freak out today if you told them you're doing 45-minute motos.
They couldn't do it today.
I think the bikes wouldn't even go that long.
No, they give not enough gas in there.
Okay, so what do you how did that first? You got 17th at that first national. Yeah. Anything stand out from that day?
Didn't do good, that's for sure. 17th is not a good number.
Well, I mean, your first national, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't sound good to me.
I don't know what you're.
Well, I don't know what Brock got that day. If he beat me, then I've been really bad.
Yeah.
So, and he probably did. Who knows for sure? I don't remember, but No, those early. God, it's time you lose. You know?
I know it's been a minute. What? I mean, was there any riders when you went to that race? Did you see any riders like maybe guys that lived on the East Coast, maybe Barnett or somebody you were just impressed with?
I don't think Barnett was there yet.
Was he not around yet?
I don't think so. I don't think he came till like 78 or something.
Okay. Was there anybody like that though? Someone that you just hadn't really seen much that you?
There's like 16 other ones, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently 16 guys impressed you.
Yeah, 16 guys.
What about Magoo? Tell me about Magoo. You get to know him
I did.
pretty well?
Yeah, Danny Chandler.
I love hearing the best Magoo stories because he was such a character.
He was fun, you know, and his family, he's originally from Arkansas too.
I didn't know that.
And so his family, we got to know his family and everything. And actually his mom and dad used to raise Dobermans, and beautiful Dobermans. And so for my first marriage, he gave me a bitchin' Doberman puppy for my wedding present. So, and his parents were great. And Danny, like I say, Danny rode like my brother. Him and all they knew was wide open and till they hit the dirt.
And hit the dirt they did.
And they did. And they did. My brother's the same way. We've had some really good stories. We had some really good rental races and stuff like that in our rental cars in the early days. And we were in Daytona one year, and we were on the beach sliding the cars, and Danny slid us into the ocean, and waves cut it out, so I had to take him back.
Hope you got the insurance.
Yeah, we had to have insurance in those days.
So you guys were wrecking rental cars way back then even?
Hey, Uncle Donnie taught us well, you know.
I feel like that's a tradition that's kind of gone away. You know?
Yeah, you had to have insurance because our thing was if you see somebody at a stop sign, you got to shove them out into the lane. So, you know.
We did that. I was at a drive-through, and I forget who was in the car in front of us, but I bumped them and then started pushing them, and the tires start squealing. And the lady at the drive-through
freaking out,
lost her mind. Yeah, she thought we were like,
what's this nut guy?
Yeah, well, you just catch people off guard. They're like, "What's going on out here?"
No, we started that stuff in the late 70s.
Well, we carried it on for you.
Yeah, good, right? Kept it on the
90s were pretty loose still.
Oh, good.
Okay, so what about 76? At this point, you think you're on a Honda?
I was, because I had Suzuki's after 76 too,
okay.
70 and stuff.
So you 125 nationals here. You did looks like 5 of them in 76, and you got a 6th, a 7th, and 8th, 6th at Redbud. You had some good rides. What do you remember from that season?
It was better, and I think how many races was this year? I can't remember exactly, but I think there was only 7 nationals.
Okay, so you went to most of them.
I think I rode a bit. I broke my ankle, I think.
And some of these, like Appalachian Highlands, I'm assuming that's West Virginia or somewhere back there.
What they call that one? Was I think David Bailey's dad's track, Gary's track.
Not Sugar Tree.
Well, I raced at Sugar Tree too, but God, I can't remember those days exactly. But
and Delta, was that Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've raced there.
Yeah.
Midland, I don't know where that is.
Midland, Michigan?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Redbud, Hangtown. It's crazy to see how long those have been going. That's pretty cool.
Right.
So, like I said, great finishes. Really, a couple outside the top 10, but really you were in there.
Probably something,
You have a bad moto crash.
Broke something or something, and you only get to race one class, and that's what I used to. And that's what you used to always say. I can make more money staying at home, and
yeah, right. It's kind of like to go do the nationals. You're almost rolling the dice, like
right, because you get to race one race, and if something happens or somebody crashes in front of you or anything, you could not make money that day.
And were you driving like in your own van back here to these?
76, no, Uncle Donnie.
Okay, he was taking bikes for you.
Yeah, he took the.
So you'd fly in?
I flew with Donnie quite a few times, because I had, still my testing stuff, so I still had, and the test, Suzuki paid for my flights and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he helped me.
You had a good deal going.
I did, really. Tosh was so good, and, he wanted to get me before Mark Barnett came, I was, he's trying to get me a works bike too.
Yeah.
Because I did good, but on the ladder, you know how it goes.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So
did you ever get to ride one?
I have
test one?
I've got to do suspension on them. I've got to do stuff for them, setting them up, and actually Ricky Johnson's bike I raced at Mammoth one time, but nobody knows that.
Okay. Talk about the differences. I mean, the first time I rode a factory 250 motor, two-stroke, this is 90s.
Right.
I just couldn't believe how easy it was to ride.
So much easier.
And you just think, gosh, of course they're going fast. Like, it's so easy to ride.
You get on it. When I was doing testing for them, I get on it and go 7 seconds a lap faster.
And this would be true works bikes. When I say works
Yes.
bike, I mean factory bikes.
Those
Because
are
works
works
bikes was done by 86, but
Yeah.
this is a works bike.
Yeah. Those compared to my bike, it was a works bike.
Yeah.
Everything's hand built. Everything's just flows so easy. Like you said, easiest thing. It's so much easier to ride.
The bumps, I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of made you mad when you got back on your bike. You're like, really?
Yeah. It's not fair.
Bouncing all
This
around.
is not fair.
Yeah, it's.
And I wanted a works bike, and my latest days at Suzuki's, I tried to buy a works bike.
You did, and they wouldn't.
No,
weren't having it.
I told them, I'll pay for it. I'll pay for the bike. You give me a chance. I'll pay for the bike. If I win, I want my money back. But it didn't go through.
It's hard, They have limited stuff, and they have restrictions on them too. And Tosh was around a long time because he
Yes.
was still there when I was there.
Right.
In the 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, and then Hide came in.
Yeah.
And was Hide your?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tosh was there still when I started.
Yeah, and Hide came. He was there at the end with Tosh too, and I love both of them.
Yeah, they were good. They were good guys.
And then Aki Godo. Yeah, he was there. And he was more in the testing department and stuff. But
That's cool. Okay, so what about 77?
what did I do in '77?
77, let's see, you had, about another 5 rounds. Cycle Rama, which I don't know where that is. Cycle Rama? Is that Texas?
I don't. Okay.
No, Rio Bravo's Texas.
Texas, yeah.
Motocross West, Agency Motocross. I've never heard of that.
That's St. Joseph, Missouri.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that I got second this day. I think with Brock won, because that's my best finish ever. I think was second place to Brock.
Okay. Oh, and that was the next year. That was in 78.
Okay.
Yeah, right here.
Was that one?
Yep. This year you got an 18th.
Oh, shoot. That wasn't a good day.
That was a bad day.
Yeah. Look at all those bad, not good, any of those.
Yeah, you 6th at Cycle Rama, wherever the heck that is. I'm sure someone will tell us in the comments. Seems like I've seen that before, but I don't know where the heck it was.
Cycle Rama.
Ring any bells? Anyway, was this? Had you switched over to Honda at this point?
77. Yeah, I think so. I think this was my first Honda years.
And when you went over to Honda, did you have a deal with doing testing or anything like that? Oh, you did. Okay,
I went
kind of same
to the
deal.
testing department.
Okay.
Yeah, they hired me in the testing department, and that was kind of. I can't remember exactly when I was trying to buy the Suzuki and I wanted to go because I did good. Well, no, that was farther in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, this 78 there, and then 79 goes to here. So 79, you were third. I want to ask you about this place because that's my old home track. 8th at Saddleback, 8th at Metrolina. I don't know where that is.
Kingtown 15th.
Yeah, I mean, every year, you had some good finishes.
Right.
I just don't know where you made that switch to Honda. I couldn't find anything on it.
Yeah, somewhere along there.
77, 78-ish.
Yeah, somewhere in 78.
And so you were doing the same job over there.
Right.
Did you ever ask about work spikes there?
Actually, what year did Kenny Keelan come on?
I don't know.
David broke his leg, and so they hired Kenny Keelan. I can't think what year that was, but anyway, Dave Arnold wanted to give me that Kenny Keelan bike.
Okay.
And it didn't.
Just didn't happen.
Didn't happen. So that was the closest I think. And Dave even said something about it before, you know, about you're mad at me because I never gave you the works bike. I go, I'll never be mad at you. You know, you still were good to me at Honda. And Eric Krippa was really good good for me, good to me at Honda.
Was he making killer sandwiches back then? That was his like claim to fame when we go test with him, was his sandwiches.
He did good, and he was a good friend. I knew him at Don Vesco in the early days. I met him early on in my career too, and we spent a lot of time testing that Honda together. So
he was in the test division too with you for a long time. Yeah. What about Dave Arnold? I mean, for folks that don't know, Dave was team manager there. He did a lot of the R&D. He's worked for, I think he's on the development team now at Triumph. Like when it comes to just engineering and mechanical mind, I don't know if there's anybody better.
I don't know of anybody. You know, he's been so good all the times that I've had to deal with him and got to deal with him and everything. And always we've treated each other with respect and great person.
Great person, yeah. Well, we had him on this show. It's probably been 3 years now, but you can just see his wheels turn when you ask him a question about how something works or something, and
he's good at it.
He's really good at it.
Way beyond me, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever get to ride a Works Honda?
I did, that's the one.
That's the one you rode. Okay.
Yeah. And I got to ride that.
Did you? What year was the one you rode? Like the 82, 83, 80, 45. Those are the ones I wish I could have gotten to ride.
Which it was at Mammoth too.
So let's see. 81 ends about here.
I lose track of time.
Oh, I know. It's been so stinking long. I don't mean to put you on the spot either. I'm just, if you don't remember the year, it's okay. This is all 82 here.
Right. Because what did I get nationals in 82?
Sixth at Hangtown, eighth at Whitney, which I forgot they had a national at Whitney. Eighth at Redbud. You always do get a Redbud.
Yeah, I like that track too.
And then I wanted to ask you too, because here in 77, you only did a few races. Did you get hurt that year?
I did.
Okay.
I had an ankle. I had a couple of years here, and I think late 80s or 76, 80, 79. You don't got too many in 79.
79 was here. You did, maybe 7.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, this is Canyon Raceway in Phoenix, right?
Right. Yep.
So that was my home track.
Okay.
I moved to Arizona when I was about 10, and man, I did more laps around that place than you could probably imagine.
That was a neat track.
It was a fun track back then. They used to have a race called the Cycle Am Classic.
Right.
Do you ever remember that? Or the Bosch Classic.
Bosch, yeah.
They used to have that, yeah. And the dirt was just
nice.
It was great dirt. It had
DG and
it had hills.
Yep.
You just wouldn't think you'd find that in Arizona, but it was great.
That was a neat track.
And this that area. There was another track called Thrasherland that was sandy. I don't know if you remember that, but Firebird was great.
Yeah.
But it turned out like Bob Moore, Jimmy Button, Sean Kalos.
Right. I had battles with those guys.
It turned out the Blos,
right.
Chappie, and then his nephew,
right.
Chris Blos. I mean,
right.
it turned out a lot of
good people.
Good people, yeah.
Yeah, I just went by there a couple of weeks ago where I go, oh man, Firebird. I haven't been, and we went to the casino down there for a Christmas party.
It looks different, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's growing up.
Yeah.
It's growing up.
And Canyon closed, sadly.
It was for sale for quite a while, too. They tried to, I seen a thing where they were trying to sell it. And
it'll be buried in houses.
Yeah.
Or tilt-ups within a few years, I'm sure. Sad what's happening to all of those. Okay, so this Agency MX, where was that?
Agency was St. Joseph, Missouri.
Oh, that was Missouri.
Yeah.
So yeah, almost a hometown race for you, like.
That was the closest one right there.
Yeah.
To our hometown. But I'd been out here for many years for that. Before that, and
right.
Like I say, Brock won. We tied on scores, but he beat me by the time by a few seconds.
Oh, was that right?
On the time, his race was faster or something. I don't know how they. I don't know how they did it. Should have been the second guy or the guy
second moto, right?
Second moto. I think I was ahead of him the second moto, and
they said something about race time.
Yeah, something. It was something. It was weird because I remember I got kicked off because I thought it was my first win. But
so after you get a second, or you'd had podiums before that, third at Canyon in '79. It's like Still no manufacturers were like
No, just right on that edge, just
bad timing.
And
Some of it's timing, right? I
well,
mean, if there's not an open spot.
If you seen how I looked, with the curly, big afro hair and the dark sunglasses and stuff like that, that I think that probably had something to do with it.
Oh, really?
I really do, because look at Brock. Golden,
the fair-haired boy.
and everything. And I didn't kiss no butt either. I just did my job.
Yeah.
So I figure, and winning all the races I did locally and stuff too, and everything, Golden States and local, one-off races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then still, and not having the full-time national, ride, and it was kind of a break, kind of going out there, whenever I got to go.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about your look here for a minute while you're on this, because this was sort of a trademark look for you. Was you would race in just glasses,
right?
No goggles. And I always, every time I'd see the pictures, I'm like, man, he must have just been getting hammered with roost, your cheeks and.
Yeah.
But explain what that was about.
Well, the glasses, I mean, I put goggles on, and my depth perception was not clear. So I mean, if you ever seen me with goggles on, it didn't last too long. Maybe a couple laps, maybe, and I could see better with just my glasses. And I can't see nothing when I take them off. So it was terrible. I've done that a couple times
really?
Too. And then you can't judge anything. So
yeah, if you got mud on your glasses, what'd you do? I mean,
well, just
a little finger wipe.
Just a little wipe, They were scratched all the time and everything, But I don't know. I never could. That they would steam up inside the goggles and everything. So it was really.
And they didn't have prescription lenses back then for goggles you could get?
They did, but I tried those too. But it was the same thing. I couldn't get the distance right. The foam or the thickness of the foam or whatever.
Well, maybe because it's farther away from your eye than a glass would be.
Yeah, and the guy that did those prescriptions really tried with me too. He did a really great job. I'm thankful he did try, and we tried. And some of those places I was wearing those and everything, but they never would work out all the time. So
if your depth perception is off in moto, it's a problem. You get yourself in trouble. Yeah,
it was difficult, and so I just got used to trying to just keep them clean and duck my head or whatever, and local stuff and everything. If I got better on the starts, and so if you're in front, you ain't gonna get roosted.
Yeah.
So that was the good thing.
What'd you do in mud races? Had to be crazy.
Well, one mud race I remember was Snake River Canyon. Snake River, when Evel Knievel jumped the what was that?
Snake River Canyon, yeah.
74, I think, 1974.
Yeah.
That he jumped the Snake River.
Sounds about right.
But we went there, and it rained the night before, mud and everything. So I actually took my glasses off and handed them to one of the flag guys. But I was far enough in front that I finished and
yeah, you won that race, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he didn't Evel put up like a $10,000 purse for that event too?
It was, I don't know what the purse was exactly, but it was a purse race plus I won a Harley Sportster too, and Brock got third there too that time, so at that race. Well, and that was 74, so.
Okay.
I think it was 74.
And did the checks go through? There's stories I heard that some of the guys that went, they said, "Hey, get to the bank and cash your check like quick."
Really?
Because the later guys, the checks bounced.
I didn't have no problem with mine.
Yeah.
And then the Harleys we picked up in El Cajon at the local Harley dealership.
Did you keep it or sell it?
No, I took it and bought me a Chevy van.
Yeah.
I needed a new van for look. And that was
awesome.
in 74. That was before a lot of this stuff,
Yeah.
So.
Jeez, that was early on. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a quick break. We got to pick it back up here with like 1980. Stick around. More Radical Ron Turner coming. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
There's a new product on the market that's going to help you with your riding and racing, and it's Elevate Action Sports. If you've not yet gone and checked it out at elevateactionsports.com, It's a collective of riding coaches, the likes of which has never been put together. Grant Langston, Ryan Hughes, Jeff Emick, Johnny Campbell, and myself, David Pingree, bringing all of our years of experience in professional racing to one place with professionally produced videos and all kinds of supporting staff to help you with your mental side of racing, your physical side, your bike setup, your bike maintenance. We cover it all. Get to Elevate Action Sports right now and join the community.
Dunlop. There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
Since 2009, Seat Concepts has been dedicated to making the best aftermarket seats. More comfort, more grip, more riding. For 10 years, we've continued to raise the bar. Innovation and American craftsmanship make Seat Concepts the world-leading manufacturer of power sports seats.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
Specialized Bicycles. Specialized leads the way in the world of bicycling. Whether it's cross-country racing, downhill, e-bikes, enduro, road, gravel, dual slalom, dirt jumping, or all mountain bikes that do it all, Specialized has the perfect ride for you. The brand is synonymous with engineering excellence and innovation that steers the industry. Visit your local Specialized dealer for a test ride and see just how good Specialized products are.
With a rich history in motocross, ProX has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975. Whether you're rebuilding an engine or just need a new chain, ProX Racing Parts aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. ProX has over 9,000 part numbers and over 60 different product types that are manufactured by highly reputable or even OEM suppliers and are offered at affordable prices to help keep riders on the bike instead of in the garage. Visit ProX.com to search parts for your bike or check them out at your favorite online or local dealer.
A lot of us have been talking about the Stasic generation of riders, and you forget how quickly things can change in a sport that is as young as motocross. That's 6-7 years that these bikes have been around training riders. So we have a Stasic generation out on the racetrack. A lot of those riders surely were raised on Stasics, and the skills they show are next level. All the things that coaches have been teaching riders on larger motorcycles for decades, they're doing it younger than ever, and it's hard to believe the Stasic generation is already here.
Welcome back, guys. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout. We're back here in the Blue Crew Studios with Radical Ron Turner. I just love saying Radical Ron Turner. It's maybe the coolest nickname. It's so 80s, man. I love it.
And I got it in the 70s.
Did you? Who gave you the nickname?
Well, actually, the announcer at OCIR.
Yeah?
Yeah, when first came up there the first few times and everything, and and you don't get the nickname Radical for no reason. Your feet flew off the pegs a few times and things like that. But later on, I figured out that's not the way. You got to keep them feet on the pegs.
Hey, it got you a cool nickname.
Yeah, it did, and it fit well. So I've been using it a long time.
I love it. All right. Well, we're picking it back up. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout, guys. Get over to TLD and look at everything they've got going on. Troy Lee Designs moto gear, all the winter line is out. If you guys need off-road, dual sport stuff, they have it. Great stuff. Very weatherproof. Mountain bike gear, helmet paint. Check them out. All kinds of cool stuff. All right. We're picking it back up in like 1980 here. So in 80, you only did 3 nationals. Hangtown, Saddleback, and LA. Kind of kept it local.
Right.
And, kind of what you were talking about earlier, it's like if you had a factory ride, then it was easier to go do the nationals because you're getting paid to go do those. They're taking care of everything for you. But where you were kind of right on that edge, factory support kind of with the testing thing, but like, it's a lot of, you're giving up money where you could stay home and make money.
Right.
Where if you go to the national, it's like, well, if I have a good weekend, maybe I make the same or a similar amount, but probably on paper it made more sense to stay home.
I think so, because, you go to the nationals, they didn't pay a lot.
They still don't pay a lot.
No, they didn't pay a lot. So you go to a national, say you're in the top 10, okay? You might get $250, $300, if back there. And I could stay at home and race one night and get, anywhere from $300 to $700.
Yeah.
So it was a lot better, and didn't have all the support that you had. But the ones I did go to was lucky, because the Honda or Suzuki paid some of my air flights and some of the stuff and the expenses, and they always had my bikes there. So
yeah. Well, and I noticed this is the one Supercross that you did, LA in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Super Bowl of motocross? Which one was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I want to say Mike Bell, was he 80 or 81 champion?
Somewhere along there, that's for sure. But 81.
Anyway, what memories do you have from that Supercross? Because you didn't do a lot of those. There wasn't a lot of them.
No.
Really back then.
I
guess you did a handful here too.
Right.
Daytona, Seattle, Anaheim.
What did I get here?
San Diego. 10th at San Diego.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably the best one, huh?
And you did some. You also switched up into some 250 nationals and got a 4th at CDR Tech Track was Colorado, right? 4th in the 250 nationals.
And that's what year was that?
81.
That's the year Donnie Hansen won, right? 81.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because RJ blew his wheel up that year.
Okay, so I should have some more in 81.
Right here. Yeah, right here. 250. So 4th at Hangtown, 5th at Saddleback. That's actually a great year for you.
Yeah, it was. That's
8th at Whitney.
I finished 6th for the year.
7th at Sunshine Speedway. Where's that?
Where's Sunshine Speedway?
Sounds like Florida.
Probably is.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, because I think this year I finished national number 6 in 81.
Dang.
That was my highest year.
Now, was that still on a Honda? Were you same program with Honda testing all those years?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my best year on the national thing.
Did you prefer the 125 or the 250?
Early days 125, 250 was great too. This was the same year that Dave Arnold was trying to get me the works bike too, because I got 4th at Hangtown and 5th, and I think overall points I was either 2nd or 3rd in the point standings after these 2 rounds.
Yeah, I'm sure. 4th and 5th right off the bat, it's pretty stinking good.
Yeah, it was a good year for me.
That's awesome. Okay, so 83, no racing. I there's no results at all. What was going on then?
1983 was when I broke my back.
What happened there?
I was at a local race and just crashed, and the bike landed in the center of my back and kind of just crushed the bottom of my spine.
An actual vertebrae, not the little processes things?
Yeah, collapsed together and stuff, so I wasn't able to do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all, so.
No paralysis or numbness or tingling or anything? Or?
I have issues now.
Do you?
Yeah, it hurts. Sometimes I hardly get out of bed in the morning. But I'm actually going to go see a spine specialist in the next couple of weeks and see if we can get something fixed there.
Is it so mid-back?
No, it's low and into the hip, and down the leg. So
yeah. Well, we were talking about kind of at the break there, all the damage we've done over the years. You know, I've done 3 ACLs, a femur. I've got plates in this arm, screws in both wrists. You know, it's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yep. You ride these motorcycles, you're going to crash.
Yeah.
If you go, you know, I mean, I've had quite a few injuries too. One ankle 6 times, the other ankle 5 times, and then tib, fib, double compound fracture, steel rods from knee to ankle. Yeah.
Do those bug you? How's your physical well-being? I mean, the back obviously not great.
It hurts. It just hurts, you know. And when it's cold, it's even worse.
Yeah.
You know, you get cold and stuff, and this one's building up some more build up on here. So my wrists, I need to do something with it because it's starting to tighten up and everything. And you know, it's part of it.
Getting old's not for pussies. It's just really not.
Hey, better do something else if if you're worried about pain.
Oh man, well I know it's coming. I'm already pretty achy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump in then. So that was your back that year. In '84, you came back and did a few races. Carlsbad got an 8th. Back on the 125 too. I thought that was interesting. You dropped back down to the 125.
Right.
Honda still on the in '84?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Saddleback and Hangtown.
No. Sorry, Kajiva.
Oh, I saw pictures of you on it. Okay, so yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So brain, fade.
How was that thing?
Was fast.
I remember me. Was Mike Healy was racing him? Might have been after that.
Mike Healy came after me.
Okay.
Marty Smith came after me, and stuff. But Kajiva, yeah, and what did I get at Saddleback that year?
13th.
13th at Saddleback.
8th at Carlsbad, and then 18th at Hangtown.
Right. So, I mean, the Kajiva was fast, and Terry Varner was the.
Oh, Terry was building the motors?
He built the motors. He's the one that talked me into coming and ride the Kajiva.
They were pretty, like the manufacturing on the silencer and stuff. It was just, they were very cool looking bikes.
Ferrari looking.
Yeah.
But they had problems with breakage and that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff came apart.
Okay.
And
reliability issues.
And Terry had probably 20 Kajivas torn apart and the thing stealing parts because we couldn't get parts and everything. So I couldn't. I tried a little over a year. End of '83. Actually, now it comes back to me. End of '83 to '84. I went to the Kajiva thing.
Okay.
And so the bikes kept on breaking on me and everything falling apart. And I did win the Supercross in Hawaii and that on the Kajiva.
Oh, on the Kajiva? Okay, maybe that's where I saw the photo.
Yeah.
Did you ride a 250?
125.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Brian Myerscough was my main competition at that race. And
yeah, so tell me a little bit about that event while we're there, because you brought the trophy. We'll drop in a photo of you with this, but the Aloha Cross used to be a staple from '84 to, I guess we said about 90.
Somewhere in that area, I think. Yeah.
And I always remember as an amateur kid coming going, man, I can't wait till I'm a pro and I can go do that. That looks really cool. In Aloha Stadium in Honolulu, full stadium, full-size stadium. And I'd have to go back and look at the winners, but they would bring over a lot of top pro guys,
Right. Yeah, and the second year, the first year, that was the '84. They brought us over. Myerscough. I don't know if it's Jim Hawley too. I think was there. Who else? There was a handful of top top guys there. And then you had your local islanders and everything too. And, you know, it was a great race. It was a good venue. Track was awesome, nice. You know, they had the whoop sections. They had all, you know, it was a nice supercross.
Did they, you know, did you incorporate some vacation into that, or was it all business?
Well, it was really cool with Kajiva because it was one of their first wins that they gave me a 2-week vacation after it.
No way.
So they gave me my bike. So I got to keep the bike.
You still have it?
No.
Oh.
I traded for a racehorse. Crazy. But anyway, they gave me 2-week vacation after that. And
did you stay right there on Oahu?
I went over to Maui and did all the sands of Kahana and all that, you know, the highway to Hana. And fished and did some, you know, just had a great time.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It was a neat event.
Yeah, it's too bad. I was telling you the story. We kind of tried to, a friend of mine over there tried to bring it back, and it kind of failed miserably. But just it's tough logistically, getting a container over there, and, you know, there's a lot to it. Anyway.
Getting your bikes there, getting them put back together and everything, and then taken apart and shipped out.
Oh, it's a mess. Yeah. And we talked about the dirt. When we tried to do it, we had mud. The bikes all got super muddy, didn't get washed, got stuck in that sea container, shipped home. So you got the salty air with all that red clay. By the time we got them back here,
ate up.
They were trashed.
Yeah.
They were trashed. Okay, so this is our seat concepts hot seat question. If you guys are in the market for a seat, comfort seat for your dual sport or off-road bike. They've got cold weather seats, wet weather seats for snowmobiles, and whatever you've got, Seat Concepts has the answer for you. Check those guys out. We heard a story that Rick Johnson hired you, or somebody hired you to come out and teach him how to take people out. We asked him about it. He goes, well, it wasn't quite like that. And so he told the story. He says, no, I was just a kid that used to hang out and ride with these guys. You, Brock, and he said somebody else. I'm brain farting. Who else was it?
Brock. Most of the time it was Brock, myself, and then Randy Hess sometimes.
Okay. I thought he said another name, and I'm brain. Anyway, he said he would just ride with you guys, and you guys would treat him like an adult and knock him down and bump into him. And so he says, yeah, those guys really taught me how to be physical and, you know, how to line somebody up to block pass. And he goes, they taught me the hard way by knocking me down.
Yeah, we pushed him pretty hard. You know, he was younger, littler, and he was on an 80, and we were on the 125. So Brock and I, you know, and we pushed each other. And then Ricky get in there too. We'd push him too. You know, run into it, hit him behind his foot peg, and push him through the turn, and different things like that. You know, you had to pass. You know, so these tracks were not that wide, and you know, back in the hill and stuff, and yeah, we put some steam on him.
Made a man out of that boy.
Made him the bad boy that he was.
Yeah. Did you ever see him make like an aggressive pass on somebody when he was in his prime and go, attaboy?
Yeah. Actually, I have.
I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I've seen some of the stuff. I go. And I've told him too. I go, oh, Ricky, see, you know, if we didn't do that to you, you wouldn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it was good. It's good, you know, having those things with guys like that. Ricky, it went on to do great. Brock went on to do great, you know, and everything. And growing up with them and stuff, and all of us being the same, you know, working together, pushing each other and stuff. And I remember when we 125, Brock got into the expert class, pro class, and his dad used to tell, you know, because I didn't have, Brock had a nice trick Honda. I had a Husky 125. And if you ever rode a Husky 125, it wasn't fast in those days.
Okay.
And Don Vesco tried. He did what he could, you know, and everything. But the thing handled great. And so you never shut it off. And Brock's dad used to tell him, hey, if you hear me come and move because I'm going to run into you. And I wasn't afraid. So.
I love it.
And, you know, so we had some battles like that. And then, you know, Ricky and those guys, you know, stuff growing up there. I'm trying to think who else came there and ride with us all the time. But
yeah, he mentioned another name. And I don't know that I recognize the name. But anyway, you guys definitely had an influence on his career. And, you know, that's cool to be a part of that.
Right.
So you kept racing until 1990. But there's no national results. What were you doing from 85 to 90? Just local stuff?
Local stuff and one-offs, different, there was, say in Colorado, there was the Bosch 5000 or something like that it was called.
Okay.
And stuff like that. I'd race those one-off events and everything.
Did you stay with Kajiva? Were you still with them? Or
No, I only lasted with Kajiva for 84 and just a couple months in 85.
Okay.
I had to leave. I went back to Honda.
Okay, just breaking too much.
Yeah, and mostly testing all the time with Honda.
Okay.
And so spent a lot of time all the way to 1990 is when I quit with Honda and I retired.
When you had this Kajiva stint, were you still testing with Honda?
No.
Okay.
No, I quit. I got mad because of the works bike kind of thing, and I finished national number 6, and I didn't get a ride. And
it seems like they could have at least.
I just pushed a little bit.
Just a little bit. Here's a pipe. Here's an ignition.
Yeah. Well, Eric kind of did that a little bit whenever he could. He was really good to me, Eric Crippa.
The old box vans used to leak works parts a bit.
Yeah.
I found that out at Suzuki.
Yeah.
We had some buddies, mechanics that were working for Ezra Lusk and some other guys, and they'd
snake out a little bit.
Hey, I don't know where that went.
That fell out of the van somewhere. I don't know. Must be in Ohio.
So it happens.
Yeah. So that's a great thing. You have those guys you get, you spend a lot of time with, and they help you as much as they can.
Yeah. I mean, they can't get fired either. It's word's coming from above, like, no, hey, we can't help.
Right.
So when did you obviously quit racing after 90? What was the deciding factor there? Like,
just
I mean, you've been going a long time at that point.
Yeah, just a lot of years already.
Yeah, 21 years of
racing already. So, and I went through a divorce and different things like that. So, when I was racing, I bought property in Arkansas, and I was going to retire. I retired to Arkansas in 1990.
Near your childhood home, anywhere near?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a couple farms away.
Okay.
So I retired there, and I put my money into real estate. I bought houses and stuff. So
Smart
I had rental properties, but that didn't last either because I was married to the wrong lady too. So I had to get rid of all that.
Sold it all?
Yeah.
Had to liquidate everything?
Had to liquidate everything. I went to nothing. So, but anyway, during that time when I was going through my divorce, I started racing some of the fairgrounds.
Okay.
And stuff in Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, the championships back there. So I won the state championships a couple years in a row there. And then I go to those farm events where they had the monster trucks and everything. They'd have a intermission race, and you race motocross, and you can make $400 or $500, $600, and then they did a dash for cash. Too, they'd sell all the tickets to the people in the crowd, and then you do dash for cash 2 laps backwards on the track, and you could win $2,500 or so.
Oh my gosh!
Because all the tickets they sold and everything and stuff. So, you if you won those and you picked a thing and you split whatever the thing was with the people in the crowd, it was great. I started racing again after my divorce was kind of finished, and then did a bunch of those and did the Guthrie, Oklahoma arena crosses, some of those things. And arena crosses in Missouri and Oklahoma and Kansas. And
this would have been like 91, 2, 3.
It's 94, 93, 94, 95. And so riding a Yamaha again because I went to the Yamaha shop there. And actually Keith McCarty from Yamaha, they called him and he gave me a couple bikes through the Yamaha shop. And I went out and won the state championship a couple years in a row in the 30 pro class. Okay. And I rode the regular pro class too. Yeah. Because I could still do okay. Yeah. I didn't win every one of those, but I did win a few of them.
I'm sure.
And so it was neat. And then I came back to California. And
what year did you move back out here?
I moved back here in '97. Okay. Back after I got everything finished up and all the stuff cleared out there, and I came back out for the Vet Nationals, and I won the Vet Nationals at Glen Helen, And then I just decided I'm coming back and I started my schools.
Okay.
Doing motocross schools.
Did you, looking back now, having experienced both, did you miss California? Are you glad to be back here, or is it just this is kind of where the opportunity is for you? And
it was better here, for especially starting the schools. I didn't want to go to work for something that I didn't like doing, and I know with my schools and kids and working with them, and if I could get some kids to do good, that would be good for me also.
Yeah.
And I really liked that, and spent quite a few years doing that.
Yeah.
And it turned out good. And then I started doing tracks here. I built Milestone.
Yeah, I read that and I didn't know that. Milestone, and you also managed Comp Edge or Comp Park?
Comp Park.
Comp Park, okay.
Yeah, I put together, I was working at Elsinore. I helped Elsinore first open up, and I was managing that. And then I found Comp Park came up for sale, so I put the thing together. I didn't have all the money to do it myself, but I brought in guys and put it together and built it.
So was it already there? Who was the guy? I'm brain farting on the guy's name who used to own it.
Randy Roulette used to own it first, and then Malcolm McCaskey.
Okay.
Malcolm McCaskey's who I got in with me and partners on it. And
so you were with Elsinore first?
Mm-hmm. With Randy
when
Heiner.
When it first opened?
Very first Elsinore.
Okay. I've always wanted to ask somebody this, because when it first opened, it would have been mid-'90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dirt was like soft. It would rut up. It was incredible. The dirt was incredible. It was so fun to ride there. And then at some point over the next, 5 years, I think Mark Peters came and did some work there.
The second time opening, yeah.
And he brought in all this, it seems like it was foreign dirt, and like capped everything. And then from then on, it was hard as a rock.
Yeah, it put in too much clay and stuff and everything. First off, because I worked for Mark there too, whenever he came to help put the track back the second time it reopened.
Okay.
And so Mark came in and did all the track design, did all that. We worked with him. I did all the equipment, helped, whatever. We put in, started trying to get sawdust in and leaves and mulch and everything. Yeah, so we tried to get to break up, because it's a lake bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so you broke through that sand section, lake bottom, and it's hard and it holds water. So you got to put something in it and then we didn't get enough.
I think I remember something too. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm telling tales out of school, but because it's like a floodplain or part of that lake, you couldn't bring in more material without excavating and getting rid of the unequal amount.
No, because it's floodplain, you couldn't bring any foreign dirt in, and that changed too, because that was their first ruling, and then they changed on the things, and you started bringing stuff in. Couldn't bring in foreign matters. You had to make sure there was no chemicals, nothing in that would run off into the lake. And then since then they've built, 22. They've raised down by where the scoring tower was. Those houses, they had to raise that up 22 feet to get above the floodplain.
Yeah.
So,
well, anyway, sad that we've lost that place. Another track kind of going by the wayside. What happened with Comp Park?
Comp Park.
Because another place, great dirt, a little slippery when you first watered it, but boy, when it worked in, it was incredible.
Because it was cow pasture.
Yeah, it was a bunch of dookie we were
at. So, but bitch and soil.
Oh, so good.
That's some of the best dirt, and I loved working with that. You could change stuff. You get the right water, the right mixture. Super hot days kind of killed us, because it dried out so fast and it put a hard glaze on it. But you could mulch that up and everything, and was great dirt, lines, ruts, everything. And the guy, Malcolm McCaskey, and he brought him on board there, and him and Jim Slimmons is his name. And
there was a guy named Bob Harville who owned it at one point. Remember that? And then he went to Kauai, and he ended up getting let go because he shot at a guy.
Really?
Do you remember this or no?
Well, I didn't know how much Bob had it whenever we took it over, because we bought it from his partner, I guess it was. Him and his partner were together, and they got out of it.
Okay.
and they were going to close it. So I put together Malcolm McCassie and got it, and we got the lease and everything on the land, and redeal. I put in all the flat track, I put in the night tracks and the little stalls that we took out, all the fences, and put in the night. We had a bunch of neat mini bike races there.
Why did it go away? It was such a cool spot.
Well, Malcolm built those towers, and he put the power poles in and everything, and he didn't get the permits. And so the city came down on him for that. But they did not close. He went and made a deal with the Saboba Reservation to move it to the reservation with Salgado Brothers.
Okay.
And so they put together and moved Comp Park to the reservation.
Okay. That was that whole debacle of the Nations in 2000.
Correct. Yep. And it was nasty.
Well, we're getting on a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but this is a problem with tracks, and I guess it's relevant because you've worked at these tracks and been involved with this LACR lawsuit that's happened. Every track around here, their insurance is going to go up probably 25 to 30 grand a year.
Right.
It's
Inevitable.
catastrophic.
Yeah.
Some of these tracks are going to have to raise entries from, 20 was always the standard, right, for a long time, and then it was 25, 30, 35.
Now it's
There's
40.
There's chatter it's going to be $50, $60 to go ride.
It's 40 right now, I think, at Paris and stuff. And he's going to have to, because time you pay for your equipment, your fuel, everything, insurance, you got to have coverage for all your employees, and it's
these frivolous lawsuits are killing our tracks. They're killing them, and the one way around it is to be on Indian reservation land.
Correct.
They're sovereign nation. You can't sue the way you can on regular land. So the move to Saboba, to me, with that track, it's like, okay, I kind of get it, but boy, you better trust the folks you're making the deals with.
Right.
Because the minute they don't like something and they just go, nope, we're done, and you can't do anything about it. And
the main thing at that was the brothers got in a fight because one was making more money than the other, and it was it was crazy, and it was a beautiful place. Bitch and dirt, soil, sandy, different mixture. I rode there one time. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that whole debacle happened, and then just poof, it was done.
Instant.
Yeah.
We had to move the Nations to Glen Helen.
Crazy. All right, well, we kind of went off on a tangent there, but that's okay. So, right when you came back out here, were you starting with the tracks, or were you starting doing schools, or kind of simultaneously doing both?
I was doing this. I did the schools. Then I got a job working for a construction company too. So drove the Pettibone job site for TWR and Davis Brothers and stuff. So I had and then I started building the schools up and everything.
Do you have your like a license to operate heavy equipment?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got passed my test, and
Yeah.
it was fun too.
It's fun. I love driving stuff. I'm not licensed, but I've built a few tracks and stuff.
Yeah. Nothing like a little D5
Yeah.
or something that you play on all day. It's a big Tonka truck.
Yeah. Should get a job with the fire department. We're hiring. We got a dozer crews that we
Good.
need.
I'd like that, actually.
You got to be able to plow right next to a line of fire.
No problem. Ain't scared.
So how, take me from kind of those days then to current. What have you been up to?
Now I've kind of been just working in the garage. I do have a little shop at my house, and I do dirt bike stuff, suspension, motors, and that kind of thing. It kind of semi-retired, but not retired, but
just enough work to keep you busy and give you something to
pay
do.
for my toys and stuff like that. I like toys.
Yeah.
So we got to
all boys do.
Yeah, got to keep our razors going, our boats going, and all that.
Do you do like bike repairs and stuff, or more performance?
No, bike repairs.
Okay.
And services and stuff like that. A lot of desert people, a lot of off-road stuff.
A lot of folks are looking for that, because with 4-strokes especially, they're like, I don't know what to do. You know.
And they're a lot tougher than those 2-strokes. That's for sure.
Yeah, you aren't kidding.
But I do a lot of them. It's fun. And my wife still got 4 years to work and stuff. So
you got remarried out here?
Oh yeah, we've been together now 25 years.
All right.
And she helped me raise my daughters and everything too. Missed that part. And
So take me back there. You have how many kids?
I have 3 of my own girls, and then I have 1 stepson.
Okay.
And my stepson's a fireman at LA County.
Okay, he's the LA County guy.
Yeah, and I've had him since he was 13 years old, so we've grown up. And
Good relationship with him?
yes,
Yeah, good.
love my kid. And
Does he ride?
He did.
Okay.
I was pushing him too hard, Mom said.
Oh.
I wanted him to go racing so I could keep going racing.
It happens.
Yeah,
It happens.
and I'm glad he did. You know, he went out and got his business degree and got in the fire department, and now he's a paramedic, and he's doing great.
That's great.
Yep. So
Good for him.
And my other kids.
And how's your daughters doing? What are they out here?
The one's in Buckeye, Arizona,
Okay.
and she just won the women's class at Glen Helen at the vet races.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the women's nationals at Glen Helen.
What's her name?
Stormy.
Okay.
Stormy Turner.
Oh, gosh, I'll have to keep an eye out for her.
Yeah, and the other one, they're twins, and she got sixth at the women's state.
So look at you. You're still racing.
They're still racing. And then my grandkids just started racing, actually, and he won 3 AMA plates this year, and he went to Loretta's, and he grew so much for his PW.
Oh.
And so that soft dirt at Loretta's sucked him up.
Yeah.
You know, but he got too big for that PW. So now we got him on a Cobra, and he's ripping too. So,
Oh, boy.
So
Cool.
And
So you're still in it.
I ain't going nowhere.
I love it, man. What do you guys do for fun? If no bikes to work on, no races to go to, what do you guys go do?
We have side-by-sides, and so we go play. My wife loves to drive. She's got her own. We go play in the desert, sand, superstition, river, that kind of stuff. We play every time we get a chance.
Take the toys out.
Take the toys out. It's
That's
a
awesome.
Great thing.
That's amazing. Well, what a cool career, and man, you're at least here in Southern California, you're a legend. Like I said, this trophy says it enough. You know, you've won more races than anybody. That's pretty stinking cool.
It's been good.
There's a lot of different, people take different paths. You know, Budman's a legend from arena cross, and some guys make it in supercross. Some guys don't race. Mercedes Gonzalez, she didn't really, but she was a pioneer and a legend in women's racing, right?
Right.
And you kind of have your own path, and it's cool. I love to hear about it.
And it's been great for me, and I wouldn't do anything different except for maybe marriages. But I got beautiful kids out of it, so
There you go.
and we're still we still involved in the races, and the grandkids are coming, and I got another one that's a year and a half, and he's already starting on his
Oh
little.
boy, Stasic, a little Stasic.
Got his little strider going and
All
getting
right.
his balance and getting everything, and
The Stasic bikes are so incredible for those little guys.
my little guy, he won the very first in Oklahoma City, 3-year-old. He won the Stasic BMX championship at 3, so I'm really proud of him.
He's got it in the genes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we ask the same question of all our guests. The last question is, how do you want to be remembered in this sport?
Just nice person, loved it, loved being involved in it, met so many nice people, and how you treat them is how they treat you, and I got to see it grow. I think I lived in the best time of it. All of the legends and guys that built it I think is what my time was.
I think you're absolutely right, and man, you're privileged to have gotten to see all that stuff and be in the mix as it all was happening, and
Right.
Man, made a good living out of it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Had a great time and made a good living, met a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And so it's
Well,
been great.
Yeah, and it's been great getting to know you, but I know we've known each other for a while. You came to our golf tournament this year with your boy, and I've known you for a long time, but never really gotten to sit down and talk with you, so it was really fun.
And that's neat too, because I've seen your career too. Some of you racing and stuff. I never knew you, but knew of you.
Sure.
But it's great, and I think this is a great thing that you're doing to preserve the history and the stuff of motocross, because you go back to some of the guys that you get, the older guys that started, say Marty Tripes and Gary Jones, and those guys that, Gary Jones was our first champion. Marty Smith was our first 125.
Mark Blackwell.
Blackwell.
We've had them all on.
So and Mark's a good guy too. I forgot about him. He was at Suzuki for me too in those years. So.
We have some incredible people in this sport, and so I'm just, for whatever reason, motocross doesn't really embrace and honor and learn about the past and our the guys whose shoulders we're all standing on. We don't do a good enough job of that. And so I'm trying.
You're doing great at it, and I think it's a very nice thing that you're doing. And I'd like to just say thanks to some of the guys that's helped me along the way. Uncle Donnie at FMF, Mitch at Pro Circuit. They've all been part of my life and helped me win the wins that I won. With some of the bikes they built for me have been great. And Troy Lee, he's helped me with my riding gear. O'Neill in the past, all these different people have been involved that are still involved. Yeah. And it's great.
We got some cool people in this sport.
We do.
Yeah, we're lucky that way. Well, thanks so much again. I sure appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Radical Ron Turner, hope you guys enjoyed that show, and stick around. We got a lot more to come.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for tuning in with us, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed Ron Turner's story. There's some folks like Ron who didn't maybe have a huge impact on the national circuit, although national number 6 in the 250 Nationals isn't bad. But he was a Southern California legend. And back in those days, the 70s and 80s, SoCal was it. I mean, that was the motocross mecca, really the center of the universe. And so he's just one of those guys like Bruce McDougall who was a legend here in SoCal. Doesn't have titles and everything to his name, but boy, he influenced racing in a lot of ways, and still loves it. Is a huge part of kind of that scene still. So really stoked to have him on and share his story. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. I want to thank you guys for always tuning in, making this show what it is, and just say please support our sponsors. We appreciate them, companies like Yamaha, standing behind us for so long, and just unwavering in their support for this show, which I appreciate. They see the historical value in it, and I really appreciate that, as it makes it something that we can continue to do. Nihilo Concepts, another big supporter of ours from the beginning. Great products, great company. Check their stuff out. Rockwell, they're relatively new to our program, but boy, I love what they're doing. Incredible sunglasses. If you guys need glasses, we have a discount code, WT20. Type it in, you get 20% off. Italian made, amazing glasses. They make amazing watches, and we're working on a goggle that I think you guys will love. We're kind of in the development process now, so stay tuned for that. Troy Lee Designs, love those guys. Pro Circuit, best aftermarket suspension and engine and exhaust you can get. Dunlop tires, gold standard. I don't even need to sell it. Pro X, all these guys. I just really appreciate them. This is the last show of 2024. We've got some great things planned for 25, and I hope you guys will come back and join us as we drop some really big ones. I've got some bangers in the works. So thanks for always sticking around and supporting the show. Appreciate it. Take care, guys. We'll see you next year.
Yamaha is the industry leader in two-wheeled fun and performance. Celebrating 50 years of YZ in 2024, the Blue Crew is still dominating shootouts and competitions. Yamaha, revs your heart.
Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear, they've got the brand new Scout line in GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. SKDA is a moto graphics and seat covers company with several offices based around the globe. For too long, bikes and graphics have all looked the same. They just start to blend together. SKDA is working to change that. With super clean and unique design work, a bike with SKDA graphics stands out in a crowd and adds a touch of art to the world of moto. Hey, we need that. SKDA prides itself on providing premium customer service both before and after the sale is made. Visit SKDA online to view the current product range and get in touch with their team to get your bike refreshed. I want to just make a mention here that these guys, not only is their design way outside the box, very, very cool. They'll work with you on custom things. The products are incredible. Okay, they'll speak for themselves. But what's really awesome, and you'll notice this the minute you order one of these, man, they give you an email saying, hey, the product's been shipped. Hey, the product is here. It landed in this spot. Hey, it's coming today. Hey, your product's been delivered. They're just so good about staying in touch with you and letting you know where it's at. Customer service is 100%, and that's just something that's rare these days. Check out SKDA. Here at the Whiskey Throttle Show, we're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX53 line and MX33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number one plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. Nihilo Concepts is leading the way in aftermarket hard parts. With their secondary on-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport, they've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the... If you've got a little Grom that's looking to get started in the motorcycle world, the best way to get them going is on a Stasic bike. They've got multiple sizes, so from your very young Groms to those who are a little more grown up, you can start them safely. They've got controls that allow you to control the speed so he can't get going too quick. They can touch the ground. There's not a lot of noise to distract them. It's the perfect way to get your child involved in motorcycling at a very young age. And if you've got a kid who's already out ripping, there's series popping up all over. For those of you in Southern California, go to www.ameminicross.com and join their local series. If you're outside of this state, contact your local track and ask them about starting a Stasic class at your local track. Get over to Stasic.com and check out all they've got going on. And finally, last but not least, Specialized Bicycles. If you are in the market to start pedaling, this is where you want to start. They've got great entry-level bikes all the way up to the Cadillac, the new Levo e-bike, anything in between, man. It doesn't matter what kind of riding you're doing. Go check out and start with Specialized. Don't waste your time on something that's going to break. The derailler's not going to shift after a couple months. Get something quality. These guys make it. Specialized leads that industry.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Whiskey Throttle Show. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified when new shows go up. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And visit whiskeythrottlemedia.com for additional content.